People are upset about the new Shiyu defense updates. It was rolled out a few weeks ago near the start of patch 2.5. I've seen constant discourse around it since it dropped, whether it be different subreddits I go to or content creators talking about it. It's the hot topic right now. Shiyu defense reset a couple nights ago, so there's a fresh wave of discussions around it. And, I gotta say, I have no issues with people venting and complaining about it. It's healthy for the game for there to be fresh discourse around things. And I gotta say, I agree with a lot of the complaints and concerns that are being brought up. At the end of the day, though, I do think people are making a bit of a mountain out of a molehill out of the issue or lack thereof. And, I think if we look at Hoyo as a gacha company, it makes a little bit more sense why these changes were the way they were. But at the same time, it is still is a little scary to see, as we're approaching, patch 2.6, 2.7, and the end of the second season of ZZZ. So, and if you haven't been up to date on the changes for new Shiyu defense, it essentially feels like a fucking speed run mode now, where you get a 5x multiplier for the first minute, and then from there that multiplier ticks down, and so you essentially just have to front load a bunch of damage in the first minute of the match if you want to have a chance at putting up the highest score possible. It doesn't really reward setting up a team strategy, or teams that maybe take a little bit more time to get cooking, but it definitely rewards new agents like Yixing Wang, who have the Enlightened Mind State, which is the name of a new mechanic that she has, which is essentially her alt mechanic that allows her to pretty much just start doing a ton of damage just right out the gate. So, I mean, it makes complete sense. What did we really expect? Hoyo to drop some new endgame mode that rewards horizontal investment and, a nice, robust roster. That's wishful thinking. I think that'd be great also. I'm a bit of a spender myself, but I mean, at the end of the day, I value a competitive game that has a really healthy end game. Because that's what really keeps people tied to the game at the end of the day, and the hardcore fan will stick around if, there's a really good end game mode that, allows good skill expression and doesn't feel like it's just, pay to win if you want to do better, or else you're just screwed by the time. So, I just want to look at some of the comments that I've seen recently. I've got a thread up here that I've been taking a look at, and it's got some interesting comments. So this Redditor says, the new Shiyu defense is terrible. I realize this is hardly a unique opinion, but seriously, what in God's name were they thinking with this mode? Even when I S-rank stuff, it feels so unsatisfying. They just reworked it to be another timer, but worse than any timer they've had before. I would happily deal with HP inflation over this mess. Yikes. So yeah, this is essentially what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. I've seen this sentiment over and over again. I mean, it's a valid complaint. He's saying that he feels like it's unsatisfying, and that's not a good thing to hear. I mean, we unwind with these games at the end of the day. This is our outlet, and it needs to be enjoyable. It needs to be satisfying. So if these end game modes, the last stuff that we're left with after we've completed all the content, if they're not satisfying, then why are we coming back to the game? So, it's a completely valid statement that he's making here, and he goes on to say, I should not S-rank a boss and feel relieved that I didn't have to bother with it again. I should feel some sense of actual satisfaction. Old Shiyu and Deadly Assault felt rewarding, even when I thought it was a little unfair. This is just god-awful, even when I succeed. Yeah, this is a bad look, honestly. Sure, the whales and the big spenders keep the game alive at the end of the day, but it's the community and everyone else who kind of is the glue, right? That's where all the memes are made and like all the fun is had, and the game's not going to continue to exist if there aren't all those people to sit there and discuss and complain about these things when they come up. So, this is stuff that Hoyo, I hope, is on their radar, and they're carefully considering how they're going to keep moving forward with these kind of endgame modes. This person says the last 3 stages all sharing the same 2 weaknesses is so bad. And so this one's more a commentary on the current iteration of Shiyu defense. And even regardless, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. It does make team building a little tricky, but honestly, that's nothing new. All the end game modes that I've seen in the past have pretty much kind of wearing your roster a little thin once you get towards the end of it. And even with this one, the electric resistance really only applies to the first wave of the bosses, or the mobs rather. So if you're running an electric DPS team, I mean, I always run Seed Squad. It's gonna just slow down your DPS a little bit. I think you should still be able to get through it. So, and then someone else comments saying triple physical is diabolical. I mean, I can't disagree with that too much, but like I said, I mean, you're pretty much just trying to blow through that first mob and then take advantage of that 5x multiplier on the boss. Aspersion Man says, I'd prefer if they remove the timer and change the score multiplier into a combo multiplier based scoring system. I'd rather fight a boss for 10 minutes and actually win something than lose because I didn't front load. This would encourage skill over whatever they want from us now. My friends, let me let you in on a little secret. They want your fucking money. Like, seriously, I mean, I don't mean to bash on this guy's comment, but the naivety and innocence I see sometimes in this community is borderline adorable, honestly. I mean, it's a gotcha company. What do they want from us? They want you to buy Mindscapes. I mean, Yixin Wang's M2 allows you to enter the fucking mind state right when you enter the match. I mean, is that her M1? I don't even know. All I know is that it's absolutely busted because you just enter the fight fucking swinging. So, I mean, you want to know how to get a better score faster? Spend some money. And look, I honestly just had to cut right there because I just cringed so hard hearing myself say the words that sometimes you gotta spend money. But look, honestly, if you're asking point blank what the devs want from us, that is what they want from us. They want to make money. I mean, it's they want the company to make money. They're shareholders and everything. I mean, sure, we can talk about some benevolent, developers who are just, it's their passion project and they're working on these things. But at the end of the day, it's always the big money machine that, just keeps making the decisions here. So, if they think the end game mode is getting a little too doable from a free to play standpoint, I mean, that's when they're going to start rolling out new updates like this. So, I mean, once you start looking at things more or less through that lens, things start to make a lot more sense. And it sounds like devil talk here, if you want to, complete the end game modes, you got to spend money. I mean, but that's in theory, that's how they're designing the game. And if they don't, then it's not, a winning proposition from a money standpoint for them, because it's all about, the shareholders and them making money. So, it's just what we got to keep in mind at the end of the day. So what about some somewhat positive sentiments about the new Shiyu? This person says old Shiyu was a brain-dead, boring slog once you've had leveled agents. This one actually rewards you for trying multiple times and figuring out the best route if you want a high score. I like this one. I'm somewhat of a sweaty grinder myself, so I can appreciate the iterative approach of trying over and over again, tweaking 1 or 2 things each time and seeing what the new outcome will be. So I can vibe with that. They continue on. Contrary to Deadly Assault, it only takes around a minute to do a run or reset it so you can quickly try multiple times instead of messing up after 2 minutes and 40 seconds and having to reset it with all that time wasted. I hear this one loud and clear. I mean, the amount of times I've had to just sit there and degenerately reset over and over and over again just because of some RNG mechanic for some of these bosses like halfway through the fight. Don't even get me started on Bringer's chance. That's a different topic. I don't want to talk about Bringer. And then they say you can't just spam every time you get decibels or energy if you want the max score you can get. You need to figure out the best wave or time to do it. Sometimes stall first or second wave to farm decibels via parry, etc. As of now, I'm enjoying it more than Deadly Assault. Could maybe extend the 5x multiplier duration a little bit or make the decay a little less abrupt, but it's still orders of magnitude above the old Shiyu. Honestly, I like this take. I mean, I'm showing my bias a lot here, but the statement that they made saying new Shiyu is just an extension of the best part of the old Shiyu, I mean, that rings home with me, honestly. Beforehand, Shiyu defense was literally just kind of a checkbox mode for me where I would just, go through it each, what is it, every 2 weeks or so and just, complete it, get my rewards and go home. But now I actually interact with it. I mean, the speedrun aspect of it is something I'm enjoying a lot. I've been, playing the heck out of it when it was pretty much just Deadly Assault was the only mode that I kind of took seriously before. So I don't know. To me, it breathes some new life into the game, add some end game content. Definitely is going to shill some new units, but I mean, what else do we expect? So, this has been on my mind a bunch the past, week or two. I mean, how can it not be when people are talking about it constantly? So I just wanted to yap about it for a bit. I'll talk to you later.